Let's podcast. Alongside Joe Giglio, I'm Joe Ovias, inside Eford Studios in downtown Raleigh. Thanks to Empire Properties and thanks to Copiers Plus. Check them out online at copiers-plus.com. Print management, document management. Get everything you need to the cloud. You talk about radio PTSD for us, like the radio scars. With Dimitri filling in yesterday, I showed him this phone, this old Mita. And I joked, I'm like, I'm pretty sure your old employer still rocks these. He goes, oh, absolutely. They weren't exactly robust with their capital projects. So you can update. So go to copiers-plus.com. Now, the real reason is finally time to reveal why Giglio was not here yesterday. Giglio needed a full day to process the possibility of the Matt Rhule era at Penn State. I think this is an important thing for people to finally understand if they haven't figured it out yet, that you do have some Penn State aura around you. Can you explain to the audience why Penn State, like Miami for me, hits a little different?
Sure. I mean, I grew up a Penn State fan. My dad was a high school football coach, named me for Joe Paterno, went his honeymoon at Penn State's practice, spring practice.
That's an incredible story.
I mean, it's crazy. It's just wild.
Nora's a saint.
James Franklin getting fired has really kind of set off some shockwaves, if you will. And I think it's funny that Matt Rhule has now kind of stepped to the forefront here. Matt Rhule.
Oh, he's absolutely like, yes. Did you see the press conference?
I did.
My wife.
Basically, my wife calls all the shots. She says where we live. Here's the thing about Matt Rhule. And there's a couple of different things to get into about Penn State. We'll start with this.
Okay.
I think with Penn State in particular, obviously Curt Cignetti is the shiny object for what he's done at Indiana.
Actually, I think he's the reason why James Franklin got fired.
I agree.
I don't think I made it abundantly clear yesterday. Yes, you can't lose to UCLA, you can't lose to Northwestern, but also you can't have Curt Cignetti go to Oregon and do the thing that James Franklin has been unable to do.
Oregon, the same team you lost to on your home field in overtime.
Bingo.
He turns around and goes and beats them.
Yes.
Okay. The Curt Cignetti, Indiana, Pennsylvania is where he got his D2 first head coaching job. Curt Cignetti is breaking the world. So much so that the answer all along to Triangle Good was sitting there working for Chuck Amato. Was sitting there at Elon, just cooling his jets, waiting for Duke, Carolina, State, any of them to call him and say, put me in, coach. But no, instead, he goes to Indiana, which has never won anything in the history of organized football. Gets them to the playoff in year one, and now has them in a position to not only make the playoff again, but legitimately win the Big Ten this year.
Which is insane.
Legitimately.
Right? Yeah.
Okay. So I don't think Curt Cignetti's leaving Indiana for Penn State. We can get into that if you really want to, but I think it's fairly obvious. He has what he needs at Indiana to be as successful as he wants to be.
Yeah.
And gosh, is he breaking everybody's brain right now?
Yeah.
Seriously.
He's gonna get a bunch of other Big Ten coaches fired this year.
Correct. Now, here's the thing about Matt Rhule, which I think there's been enough time has passed since Joe Paterno's inglorious exit from Penn State.
Sure.
And subsequent death. That we had Bill O'Brien, we had James Franklin. I think there's enough of the old line at Penn State that says, you know what? It's okay now to hire someone with a connection to Joe Paterno. I think, right?
No, I think you're right.
Okay.
I don't disagree with that assessment.
Now, the thing about Matt Rhule, and this is you're going to get into the Giglio theory here, and I'm sorry that I can't make this any more concise as our conversation that we'll have with Matt Brown. He was super concise with some stuff.
Okay. We're talking to Matt Brown extra points here in a second. Yeah.
Okay. Well, obviously we recorded that already. Okay.
Yes.
Here's the thing. I'm going to try to explain this as concisely as I can. The reason I knew Matt Rhule was going to fail, first of all, Matt Rhule is just a cheaper version of James Franklin. His record against the top 25, I believe, is also 1-11 or something. It's something very poor from his time at Baylor and now Nebraska.
He's Timu James Franklin.
Like he
James Franklin.
He can build a program. He can get you to good, but he can't be great.
Sure.
He's never been great.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the reason I knew that Matt Rhule was not going to be successful with the Carolina Panthers. And before I ever knew that he never really coached a team before, he never really ran an offense before. before I knew all of the reasons why he wasn't successful in the NFL, he had a chance to take the New York Giants job. Now, Matt Rhule grew up in the tri-state area, went to Penn State, okay, played at Penn State, played for Joe Paterno, then worked for the Giants. At the time that he grew up, I believe he's also born in 75. At the time he grew up, he might be a little bit older than me. The time he grew up, his dream job should have been the New York Giants. That's what his dream job should have been.
No, he's 1975.
After working for the Giants, after going to Penn State.
Yeah.
I could not wrap my brain around the fact that he would rather have the Panthers job than the Giants job. So I kind of sort of knew he was going to fail because he didn't want it. I think now those emotional ties he's looking at going, you know what? I made a mistake. I should have taken the Giants job. This is now his mulligan to be like, you know what? I grew up a big Penn State fan. I went to Penn State, played for Joe Paterno. This is the job I want. The question is, will it get to him? I don't think it will, Joe. And here's why. The guy I think you missed out on yesterday's podcast, and great big thanks to Dimitri for being there for me. I think Mike Elko is the guy they're going to hire.
I didn't think about Mike Elko.
Mike Elko grew up in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Mike Elko went to Penn. Mike Elko's my age. There's two teams you either rooted for growing up when we did. Okay?
Yeah.
And where we did.
Yeah.
You either rooted for Penn State or you rooted for Notre Dame. That was it. There was nobody else.
No.
All right?
No.
There was nobody else.
Yeah.
Those are the two teams. The fact that he went to Penn suggests to me that he was probably pretty smart. Also probably suggests to me he wasn't good enough to play at Penn State.
Correct. Okay. That's fine.
Like, that's a thing.
Two things can be true.
That's a thing.
Two things can be true.
Now, he coached at Notre Dame, which kind of throws me off. But I think he was at Notre Dame and that little bit of that mercenary stage there.
I did not think about Mike
now,
Elko.
I spoke for Mike Elko once in my life, and I was wrong.
Yeah.
When I said, I don't think Mike Elko, the guy who grew up in New Jersey, you know, the guy who's from the Northeast, tri-state area, is going to take the Texas A&M job. Now, he did.
He did.
And I do believe he's going to have Texas A&M in the playoff this year. I don't know how their season ends.
Honestly, all things considered, he was the right coach for Texas A&M at the time. And he might be the right coach for Penn State at the time.
I think he's the right coach for everybody because he's a super coachy coach.
He is a super coachy coach.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so the way I look at it, I would be surprised if Mike Elko turned Penn State down. That's what I would be surprised. Because I think now we can argue about Texas A&M, Penn State, better job, more money, this, that, and the other. I would be surprised if someone other than Mike, and now Mike could turn them down, which would lead us down some sort of list, which gets us to Matt Rhule.
Mm-hmm.
That wouldn't necessarily surprise me because I do think there's probably that old line that says, "Hey, enough time's passed. Let's connect to our Paterno roots and we'll hire somebody." But yeah, man, like yesterday, my brain was spinning.
That's why you were out. You couldn't even do the podcast. Like, anybody can podcast on Monday unless Penn State fires James Franklin, and you have to come to grips with the fact that, damn, this dude might actually end up at Penn State.
It could be.
Goodness gracious. I was excited for today's show because, to switch over to the NFL, I was super hyped because once it went final, I was like, oh yeah. You know, Joe, on Monday Night Football, Buffalo Bills probably would have beaten the Atlanta Falcons if only they played it outside and not in a dome, and the Atlanta Falcons couldn't handle a chilly evening in Buffalo, Joe. I thought ideal conditions. You got Josh Allen, this Lamborghini, right? Ideal conditions in a dome against a Atlanta Falcons team that got blanked by the Carolina Panthers, which congratulations to the Carolina Panthers on their transitive property win over the Buffalo Bills. Mm-hmm. They have a chance to get a real win over the Buffalo Bills. And I know what they saw last night. Panther fans going, yo, we beat that Falcon. We blanked that Falcons team. Never mind that the Falcons fully falconed in that game, but that's neither here nor there. I'm optimistic about what might happen later in the month when they see the Buffalo Bills. They're going to be above 500 after Sunday for like the first time since October of 2021. Feeling good. Buffalo, man, they got problems. They're feeling it. Feeling frisky, those Carolina Panthers this week after going 500 and a very winnable game against the Jets.
The Bills are in trouble.
Why?
In the sense that you have to play. The AFC to me this year is theirs to lose.
Okay.
please do not let Andy Reid and the Chiefs get on any kind of hot roll. And please don't let it come down to this. But before you do that, before you have a great, I have a sizzling hot, and truly the problem with Buffalo is their playmakers. It's not Josh Allen.
I got you.
It's their playmakers.
I got you.
Okay. And if you look around the NFL, like the Packers, I'm sweet on the Packers, but who are their playmakers? Who makes plays when the money's on the table? The Rams with Puka Nakua's injury. That's something to look out for too. Right now, and all these injuries for the Bucks too. You know, the Bucks are balling just as much as anybody in the Baker Mayfield's like balling out.
Baker Mayfield's turned an island of misfit wide receivers into this lethal force, and he looks like an MVP candidate right now.
They're on fire.
Yeah.
But there's one thing. First of all, with the Panthers, you mentioned Greg Olsen yesterday. Speaking of New Jersey, he grew up in Wayne. His dad was a high school football coach. So we have two things in common. We grew up in the same county in New Jersey, Passaic County, New Jersey.
Not the third leg.
And his dad was the high school football coach. So we have two more things. I forgot because he went to Miami. It was such a departure. His older brother, Chris, was also an outstanding high school player and ended up, he was at Notre Dame, then he was at Virginia.
Yeah.
Greg's departure for Miami, as I said, you either grew up Notre Dame or Penn State. Like Greg going to Miami was like a big deal back in the day.
Broke some brains, right?
But now here's my advice for the Panthers who are now hot, right? I need you to do me a favor. You don't have to marry every person that you have sex with, Panthers. Okay. No one told you this, and I'm telling you this now because I feel like the Panthers never learn from any of their mistakes.
Okay.
They do one thing and then they go the other way, and then they do this, then they do that. Here's the thing with Rico Dowdle, who's been awesome. Please don't give him a long-term contract.
No, they're not going to.
Pretty please.
They're not going to.
Pretty please.
I have seen the joke. If who's the old general manager from back in the day? Well, not Dave Gettleman, but the guy before that. He ended up having
Marty
Hurney. Thank you. It escaped me for a second. If Marty Hurney were still the general manager, then he already has a record-breaking NFL deal for a running back. You're absolutely no. But I'm glad you brought that up. I think most Panthers fans, and I think the Panthers also recognize this, that Dan Morgan recognizes this. You already have Chuba Hubbard on contract,
which I believe was a mistake, but go ahead.
Fair point. And that Rico Dowdle, with the year that he's having so far, even just these past 2 weeks,
it's 2 games.
2 games. Well, I mean, look, he already matched like a Christian McCaffrey record, for heaven's sake. So anyway, I do think because of the economics of it, they're not going to be able to give Rico Dowdle that money.
I'm kind of sort of kidding.
He's also old.
Think about it. They had D'Angelo Williams and Jonathan Stewart. They had a sunk cost at the running back position. So they were like, they kind of sort of learned their lesson. They're like, oh, well, now we got Christian McCaffrey. We only got one, but we're going to overpay him. And then they're going to get rid of him because we have too much money sunk into the running back position, even though that was a mistake.
Yeah.
And then they're like, well, we got this Chuba Hubbard guy who we drafted. And look, he's homegrown and we're going to pay him. And it's like, don't you get it, guys? The position is disposable. That's the whole point. Just draft another one, plug them in, or sign one off the street, plug them in, and play them. Okay? Please stop overpaying. Learn positional value just once.
I think
in the last 15 years.
I agree with you. I think the economics of the roster already will prevent them from doing it. That and what my only question with Rico Dowdle and the Panthers going forward is, don't put Chuba back there and mess it up.
Just keep riding.
Keep riding the hot hand until it's no longer hot, and make sure that Chuba is completely healthy. Because you're also, you know what the real issue is? It's not the Chuba Hubbard contract. It's that they drafted the other running back.
Multiple. ETN and the kid from Brooks from Texas, who was never healthy, by the way. Like, you can't waste second round picks like that.
That's the problem. So I do think that the Panthers
Chuba's deal is really not that.
It's not
big.
that bad. Again,
9
I think
million, little less than 9.
I think the issue is just ride the hot hand, Rico Dowdle. It's that simple for me. That was a scorching hot Panthers take.
Yeah.
All right. So with the Bills losing and Kansas City beating the Lions, only tells me that it's fine. It's finally time for me to say I was wrong. I have no problem saying I'm wrong.
I know.
I have no problem saying that I'm wrong about stuff. I just wish you were
right.
In the case of Kansas City, for those who might not remember, I predicted bold predictions I thought, given the division, given a Super Bowl loss hangover, given just natural declines, natural regressions for this group that's just getting older, and not everything post Tyreek is going to turn up magical. And you can't be living this life in one-score games forever.
Right.
That it was going to finally catch up to you, and the Kansas City Chiefs were going to miss the playoffs this year. Early on, I was looking correct. However, the one thing that we all do in the NFL is that you say, don't marry just because you had sex with her, don't have marry her, or don't say her, we're being very misogynistic here. Just don't marry the person you have sex with. I see what you're saying, right? I think we did that in week 1 of the NFL with the Buffalo Bills and the Baltimore Ravens.
God, that game was amazing.
Does that
How do you not watch those two and go, hey, man, we're going to be right back here in the last weekend of January. They're going to be playing for the AFC title.
You're picking out fine China patterns at this point because it was such a great week 1. But now that week 1 seems like it was 10 years ago.
It really does.
And
now we got to listen to the fucking Patriots. I already hear Bill Simmons with his bullshit about Drake May and Mike Vrabel. It's like
they're creeping up.
Really, Bills? Really? Are you going to do this to me?
They might. But I
don't let these motherfuckers get their cornerback.
I don't think we're there yet. I think it's more so along the lines that Kansas City's never going to give up that corner. I think that to me is where we're headed because look,
Andy Reid's the best coach in the
Andy Reid is the best coach in NFL history. I think that goes without a doubt.
But he lost in the Super Bowl, Joe.
Cool. Kansas City. So last year, actually the last 2 years, Kansas City, if you go read all the football nerds, like Aaron Schatz at football, like whatever it's called.
What was the Bible? Yeah.
Well, I have the Bible under all my other junk here on the table, but like you go them, you read Mike Tanier or Neil Payne, who's got a Substack. He has all these like stats and graphs and ELO rankings and everything else. Everybody was kind of annoyed with the Chiefs because they had a better record than the football nerd metrics told you. They outperformed everything.
Yeah.
Okay. And what's funny is they at 3-3, same record as the Carolina Panthers of all things. Interestingly enough, they're actually on pace to be more productive than they were with better records, including Patrick Mahomes. Now, I have a theory with Patrick Mahomes. I think we do this all the time with the greats, right? Where they understand their bodies and what they're capable of better than we do. Now Patrick Mahomes doesn't have sciatica like LeBron James does, but we understood. I mean, you want to talk about sciatica? Those are the kinds of things you hear about while you're watching the 6:30 national news, man.
Right.
Like sciatica.
Get that knee strap. You could sell that on the 1-800 numbers.
But I think all the greats understand how to preserve themselves for when they need to.
In case of emergency.
And I think
break the glass.
Patrick Mahomes has been doing that, and we're seeing it play out now that they're getting to where they need to be, and he's outperforming what he's done the last couple of years because he needs to. And they're only going to get more guys back.
They're still such a weird team.
They're a very weird team, but look around the NFL. It's nothing but weird.
I can't dispute this.
It's nothing but weird.
I can't dispute it.
So Kansas City, I was wrong. I was wrong about Kansas City. Brian Callahan, get out. The first coach to get fired in the NFL. Congrats on that one. Bill Belichick? Is that the out? Is that the out for UNC?
So if you're Tennessee, why wouldn't you hire Bill Belichick?
Because you're seeing what's happening at UNC. You're like,
so
hey, well,
can we go to the alternate universe?
Leave Mike Lombardi at home, please. Thank you.
If we go to the alternate universe where Belichick doesn't take the Carolina job and he's just chilling right now, would Tennessee have hired him?
Yes, absolutely. He'd be there right now.
I would be inclined to think just because A, you can have those 15 wins, you can have yourself a little piece of history, and then B, you're kind of sitting here going, well, we had the number 1 pick. I would make sure he had a better offensive coordinator than the last few years at the Patriots. Have you seen what the 49ers are doing with former Patriots, by the way?
Real quick. Well,
I mean, like, have you seen it?
The 49ers are all hurt.
No. Mac Jones and Kendrick Bourne are like setting the world on fire. And it's like, well, why are you good now? Because you're with a functional coach?
Could be.
Sorry, I didn't mean to contradict myself within the same segment and the same take there. But here we are.
Yeah, that's fine because the NFL is weird. Like I said, the NFL's weird. No, so Mike McCoy was elevated to the interim, and I guess that's one of those situations where we're going to see if he can earn the job.
Sure.
So we'll see how that all plays out. And speaking of coaches who are going to be next, Mike McDaniel, what are we doing? Can we just not? Can we not? Like, Tua Tagovailoa has embarrassed himself completely this week by throwing his team under the bus, talking about missed mandatory meetings and stuff like that. That makes Mike McDaniel look bad. Not only does it make Tua look bad, but it makes Mike McDaniel look bad. Mike already looks like he's on another planet when he's giving these weekly availabilities. So it's a mess. I don't know how. I mean, I understand that the Eagles are the point of contention for all the drama, but the Dolphins aren't coming off of a Super Bowl victory. Therefore, there's not as much palace intrigue of like, how is this dysfunctional team able to win? I mean, what's funny about the Eagles is that they're 4-2, yet everybody's ready to implode them. The Dolphins,
they were last year.
The other Alabama quarterback who's at Miami is actually the one who's doing more damage than anybody wants to say about Jalen Hurts and how he's talking about things, and not a single person is backing Tua up. So at this point, I'm just saying, what are we doing here? Yeah, again, to get back to your thing about Tennessee, if Bill Belichick was just home chilling and the Dolphins job opens up, why not? But we don't live in that alternate universe. And and I do think that this is a matter of the reapering to bring it back to the Carolina Panthers.
It's a delayed reaper.
Well, we saw a delayed reaper with the Raiders last year.
Yeah.
But the delayed reaper is going to hit with the Dolphins because they got embarrassed by the Carolina Panthers. And then you also have Jerry Jones not talking after the loss to Carolina on Sunday, which is rare for Jerry Jones. And because the defense lost in essentially what amounted to a shootout to Bryce Young and Rico Dowdle putting up huge. I mean, you got to remember, Jerry Jones was dismissive about the whole buckle up thing.
Yeah.
Jerry last week said, nobody came to the facility because they were so scared about what Rico Dowdle said. I'm paraphrasing, but that's essentially what he said. And then they go out there and they get embarrassed by Rico Dowdle. I got to imagine Jerry not talking after the game then leads to their defensive coordinator getting Carolina reapered. But I do think it's fine time to revisit something that I told everybody at the beginning of the season when it comes to the Carolina Panthers. I told you then, and it's true now, this season, no matter what the Carolina Panthers do, the conversation will not be about them. The Carolina Panthers winning and getting to 3-3, getting to 500. The Carolina Panthers with an opportunity to get above 500 for the first time in 4 years, for heaven's sake. That's not the story. The story is Dolphins, Mike McDaniel, Tua Tagovailoa meltdown. You beat the boys. It's about Jerry not talking and whether or not the defensive coordinator is going to get fired. You beat the Jets this weekend. It's going to be about Justin Fields and Aaron Glenn fighting with the New York media. So like I said at the beginning of the season, Panthers fans, buckle up. It ain't going to be about you. If you're comfortable with that because you're happy winning again, hey, so be it. If you're mad that nobody's talking about you, I tried to warn you earlier in the year.
Housekeeping.
Big thanks to Inovana. They bring you house cleaning. They do a house cleaning.
They clean your house.
For housekeeping.
If you have mess inside your mansion or trash in your cabana, get it clean with Inovana.
OG Light is flowing, ladies and gentlemen. OG Light available at Raleigh Times, right around the corner from us here in downtown Raleigh.
Perfect.
You can find OG Light at P Street Market in downtown Raleigh. You can find OG Light at the Butcher's Market, although I do feel we have to re-up some Butcher's Market locations. I believe it will be available at the local outside the arena soon.
We're working on that.
We've got the tap handles over there, so that's always good. So yeah, OG Light is out and about. And if you really want OG Light, you can go to Longleaf Swine. I know they have it. And you can also just go to Bond Brothers and ask for OG Light
or P Street Market.
And they got it. So go check it out. Our beer is still out there. Shout out to everybody who posts the photos of their OG Light wherever they
Kelly,
are.
that was an all-timer, man. That was awesome.
Lambo. I love it. I love seeing this. It's all good stuff. So go check it out. OG Light's available everywhere. Also, another reminder to rate us. Give us 5 stars. I don't do this often, but I feel it's time to finally remind people about this. 5 stars only. Positive vibes only. 5 stars helps us with the algorithm. Leaving a review helps with discovery. So if you haven't done that on your favorite podcast platform yet, by all means, please do. I tend to know what I'm talking about when it comes to social media stuff. I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to CFO stuff. That's why I let Joe handle that. But even Joe sometimes finds his limitations.
Mm-hmm.
And you need an actual expert. This small 2-person LLC needs an actual fractional CFO. You might find yourself in the same situation. That's why you got to check out Chris Brassfield in Homer, Alaska. We got to send Chris emoji light, by the way. So check him out, brassfieldaccounting.com. Again, that's brassfieldaccounting.com. Before I continue, you do not need to go to the bathroom while I'm doing this, do you?
I heard that yesterday.
Okay, just double checking on that. Speaking of the butcher's market, like I said, you can find OG Light there. My brother texted me. He's like, that might be the funniest thing Dimitri's ever done on this podcast. I'm like, yeah, you might be right. Check them out, thebutchersmarkets.com. They got prepared meals, grab-and-go stuff. You need a specific cut of meat. They got it for you. More importantly, they can cater. Because, folks, we are about to enter catering season with all the holiday stuff. So check them out, thebutchersmarkets.com. Heck, make a whole night out of it. Go to the Butcher's Market, drop on by 2 Roosters, get yourself some goodies. I'm jealous you got to try the hockey pucks. That was good.
I couldn't eat mine, but Chip and Hayes enjoyed theirs. They did. They're delicious.
That gave them time to be quiet for like a minute while they enjoyed it, and the podcast would go for 2 hours. How'd you go 2 hours, bro? You went 2 hours on Thursday.
Oh, yeah, the hockey. We were feeling our hockey talk.
That's good. That's
hey,
good.
by the way, Seth Jarvis.
Oh, he's on a heater.
Remember, we told him career year
got
last time. Here we go.
So go to 2 Roosters if you're going. I mean, the Canes are going to be gone for a couple weeks here.
Oh.
We'll talk about the Canes here briefly in lightning round. We'll talk about them here briefly in lightning round. But when they come back, check out the Slavin Sunday and those hockey pucks. Of course, our friend Matt Davis over at State Farm. You can check him out online at insuregarner.com. Call him directly at 919-779-8277. Just have the conversation. See how much money you could be saving on your home and auto. So again, big thanks to Matt Davis, insuregarner.com. And you can call him directly at 919-779-8277. And of course, NC Grill Rescue. Check them out online at ncgrillrescue.com. You might be coming out of the summer doldrums. You haven't used your grill in a bit, but the weather's getting nice. You want to get back out there. The leaves are turning. You want to take advantage of this crisp weather, but your grill's gross. Hit them up. ncgrillrescue.com. Get that thing deep cleaned, and you'll be ready to go.
No need to bury your barbecue. Call NC Grill Rescue. And now it's time for your NC Grill Rescue of the week.
Mine is I should be around when Hayes is filling in so I can give him the wrap it up button. And then you can get out of here at 2 hours. I never want to hear anything about the length of the podcast when I'm hosting. Ever again. Ever again.
Whoa.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. We're actually working with Hayes about doing maybe something for the Raleigh Christmas parade.
That will be fun.
We got something cooking for that one.
It'll be fun. Toronto Blue Jays had the best home record of the American League this year, only to lose their first 2 games of the ALCS at home. They cannot be rescued. Good riddance, Toronto.
You're so mad.
Good riddance.
You're so mad about your baseball bats.
No, it's not so much honestly, it's really not about the bat. It is honestly about like the Brewers were celebrating beating the Cubs, and it's like, what's the point? Is the point to win the whole thing, or is the point to sit here and like troll the team you just beat?
I think it's like, it's kind of like my takeaway from, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit more on OG Business on the YouTube premium channel, on the membership channel. Am I going to the Fair Food to eat gut bombs, or am I here to take pictures? I want a gut bomb.
Right.
I'm not here to take pictures. Oh, it looks great in a photo, but is it good? I don't think it is. It's the lightning All right, we got a couple of quick things to get to here. Since you weren't here yesterday, I kind of held off on NC State talk because like I said yesterday, I wasn't quite sure what the real takeaway was from the Notre Dame game loss, because I viewed it as a scheduled loss, and I was very confused by the whole like, Dave's got to go. I mean, that's not the one that you get mad about. Or Boo's got to do the right thing like Penn State just did with James Franklin. I'm like, what makes you think that NC State and Penn State are in the same situation? Like, I get it. You got coach firing FOMO. It'll play itself out. Let it play out. Chill on that.
I only have one issue with what NC State did on Saturday. Big shouts to Steve and Reynolds and James and Jackson and all the Jacksons who went out. They had a great time at South Bend. That uniform combination I thought was buried after the 2015 Belk Bowl. I thought Jacoby Brissett's pass to no one on the very first play of that game would have buried those uniforms. I thought the fact that J-Sam was spot clean after everyone and his 2 touchdowns and everyone else on the team was muddied up. I thought that was reason enough never to see those black pants, black helmets, and white jerseys again. After this game, I will again issue a plea. Pretty please, retire the New Mexico State uniforms.
Yeah.
The only positive from this weekend for NC State is, yeah, you got embarrassed when you played Notre Dame. Yeah, it didn't go your way, but at least no one knew who the fuck you were. Everyone thought it was either Texas Tech, New Mexico State, or Mississippi State. Like, I don't get that uniform combination at all.
UNC's locked in, Joe.
They are.
We got press conferences with Bill Belichick saying they're playing great.
Bubba Cunningham and Lee Roberts there. Totally normal. Totally.
You are. This has made the rounds nationally in outside of sports, right? Your job is in trouble, or situations have hit a point where it's probably bad news for you when you get the, hey, can I shadow what you do on a day-to-day? Hey, can you send me an email and like write out the list of responsibilities you have and, what's your work day? I remember years ago, actually it's somebody you and I both know. I had a conversation with them about office hours. And they were like, have you thought about like having, being here at your cubicle for X time to be available? I'm like, well, man, that's what my phone is for. Like, if you need to reach me, I'll tell you after the show. But like, if it's a one thing in media, it's the worst thing you could ever do in media. Like, hey, can you walk me through your day? I'm like, what's your process? And it's like, our process is not a normal process. All right.
I actually got a process direct message.
Oh,
they were complimenting us.
Oh, okay. Well, I appreciate that. I was listening to Brian Curtis in the press box the other day, and they were talking about Barry Weiss, that's at CBS now, and sending out one of these emails like, I need for you to explain how your days go. And they're both joking like, you're asking journalists to explain what their day-to-day is? It's never the same thing twice.
It's also over for you.
It's also a wrap for you if you get that email. So all that is to say,
Debbie, I want to go to the press conference this week. Oh.
So if Lee Roberts and Bubba Cunningham are just kind of hovering around, they're probably wondering, hey, how do things operate? When I see the Holy Cross guy tell the media, hey, well, he moved his office from the 4th floor to the 2nd floor.
Yeah. Accessible.
Yeah. Got it. Okay, cool. It tells me there's not a lot of good signs there.
What a mess.
And meanwhile, you got Mike Lombardi. I mean, one day we'll get Jones Angel. We'll get him on a few OG lights, loosen him up, and get him to sit in front of the microphone and say, so how did those Mondays at Top of the Hill work with Mike Lombardi? How did you sit through that, right? Like sitting all through that stuff. And Mike Lombardi playing 4D chess, talking about, I knew that letter to the donors would, I knew that was going to get out. I'm not an idiot.
Oh, I knew.
Then why'd you send it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's just something I do. All that kind of stuff.
It's really dangerous for us to be right above a ABC store, by the way.
I love how you just get distracted in the middle of a segment.
Well, because
that Booker's has been sitting there.
No, for Jones.
So you want to get the Booker's for Jones. Okay. Yeah.
Now sometime down the road.
But you give him 2 ounces of that, he might just start singing. I'm just saying. No, it's just the whole thing. And what I find most fascinating in all the response to lighting Mike Lombardi and Bill Belichick on fire is that we've resorted to 5-year-old behavior by some people online. I get it's social media. I get that it's social media and it's not a true sentiment. But we've reached well, if you're so smart, why don't you go coach the team? Like, do you understand that sounds like, well, if you like it so much, why don't you marry it? Do you understand? Like, say that out loud before you type it and tell me how that sounds. I'm rubber, you're glue. Like, were you 5? So I'm not buying it. I don't know why anybody's buying
Is
it.
there any hope on here?
No, there's not. It is funny. It is funny how it is funny how the schedule now suddenly goes, where they're going to find some wins. And I don't think we're going to see any wins here in the future. I don't see them beating Cal on Friday night. I'm going to stay up for that game because I'm a sicko. Carolina Hurricanes are back in action. I think the tidbit says, 10 o'clock. What, 10 or 10:30 tonight? Yeah, 10 o'clock tonight against the Sharks tonight. We're 2 games into the season and we're already in freak out mode for the Carolina Hurricanes because Jacob Slavin seems to be nursing something. I was reading Ryan Henkel at the Hockey News and just to kind of catch up on some things Carolina Hurricanes related, and he leaves the win against the Flyers on Saturday night. And there's been no procedure done because he was nursing something going into preseason. Remember when training camp opened up and there wasn't a lot of availability for Jacob Slavin. So people were wondering what's going on. They say, hey, no big deal. He'll be ready to go. Apparently he tweaked something.
Or just shut him down until he's healthy.
There could be that too.
Yeah.
There could be that too. So everybody's kind of monitoring the situation with Jacob Slavin. The other thing is Kochetkov is unavailable. He's hurt.
Yeah, he got nicked up in the preseason.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Justin Pelletier, who writes for the News and Observer, wrote this week about the one thing the Carolina Hurricanes got wrong. And that would be continuing to kick the can with the goalies.
Mm-hmm.
I see the point. I don't necessarily agree with the focus of kicking the can with the goalie. I'm going to go with what Luke DeCock has told us multiple times related to Freddie Anderson. Whatever happened with Freddie Anderson procedurally, whatever he got done, both the team and Freddie Anderson are confident that whatever had been ailing him is now fixed. So that's off the table. Like he feels good. He feels fixed.
Right.
And this is not like
this wasn't the blood issue. This was last year, the actual knee.
The actual knee.
Yeah.
So whatever procedure was done, they feel strongly that he's fine. Okay, cool. I'm going to believe that. I think the real mistake in terms of kicking the can would be with Kochetkov. And this is coming from somebody, this is hard for me to say because I was all in on Kochetkov just a couple of years ago. I think they don't have a reliable backup goalie anymore in Kochetkov. Injuries aside.
I was gonna say, he's just hurt.
Injuries aside, I don't think he's that guy anymore.
Really?
I don't. I think they should have used him as an asset with a team-friendly deal to move him to bring in to get, we're all freaking out about the 2C. I don't know. I don't see if you got, again, I'm getting fantasy GM.
Sure.
I'm going into fantasy GM mode. I would have been interested with the salary cap space and an asset in Kochetkov. Because you know how a front office would be. All right, you know what? He needs a change of scenery. Maybe he'll work out for us. That deal isn't a backbreaker. He can be moved. I think he's got 2 years left, $2 million a year, right? And then I don't know, Primo. Maybe he becomes this backup goalie, or you just go into the free agency market and you pick somebody else up. I just don't know if he's the reliable backup anymore, which you need as you progress through the course of the regular season and obviously get into the postseason.
Yeah, you got to keep Freddie fresh.
That's the thing.
There's a 30-game max to Freddie is probably what you don't want much more than 30 out of him.
I agree.
Honestly, during the regular season.
I agree.
The last we saw Kochetkov, now, you know me, you've always been sweeter on Peter than I am.
That's why it pains me
right.
to say that, because I was high on him.
But the last time we saw him, I actually was more impressed with him in that Florida series than I was at any point in his career.
That's fair.
Because I thought he stepped into a very difficult situation, gave the team what they needed, right? He's more of the fiery personality, more of an energy type, which is really hard to be as a goalie, by the way. So I'm not ready to give up on him. Is he like a true number one? Probably not. But goalies are weird, man. Like they take.
I always say goalies are voodoo, man.
Goalies are weird.
I mean, and I think the Canes also knew that Primo wasn't going to be. He was never going to clear. That's why they made some moves even before that.
Yeah, we're on the Brandon Bussy bus right now. Let's see what he does. We'll see him play a little bit.
Let's see what this trip. Let's see what happens.
They have a knack for unearthing backup goalies and e-bugs and everything. These are like, I get what Justin's trying to say. Like, hey, they could have managed their goalie situation better, but like, things I don't worry about with the Carolina Hurricanes is like, are they going to call up some random journeyman and they're going to win the game?
Well,
yes,
this works, but this also works when you have Jacob Slavin on the ice.
Correct. That's a good point.
So you can make the e-bug work when you're playing out of your minds and you have generational defensive talent like Jacob Slavin, who is not available. Now, we'll see how long this goes, but I'm with you. If Jacob is hurt, just shut him down.
Yeah,
survive. You also have the Olympics coming up, which is another matter.
It's going to be a really weird season. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
You know, and we joked, kind of sort of joked about the one with Jarvis. We kind of joked about it. Like when Rod's sitting here telling you, okay, we got this sprint and then we got this race and then we start over. Like they're going to have the roster management this year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's going to be a test for them. And they know how to handle this better than we do. Thursday night was fun. Third period was fun.
Yeah.
First two period, you're like, but hey, man, they know more than we do.
Hey, I was I was in the Philadelphia area, and it was funny watching the Flyers game in a hockey rink at the pub and realizing, like, wait a minute, that's not Mike Minisco. Wait a minute, that's not Trip Tracy. Who are they? What is, Comcast? What? Where's my broadcast? It was very confusing. I didn't like it.
Let's take a break. Let's take a hockey break. Brought to you by Happy and Hill.
That's the kind of day I'm having today. Hockey break time. So
it's Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday. It's a wild day. So I'll be running by Happy and Hail at some point today. You can too. Use that promo code OG25. You get 25% off your order when you order on the app. Schedule it, pick up, and go do the thing with our friends at Happy and Hail. Again, download that app. Use that promo code OG25 to save 25% off your order.
We've got a lot to get to. Woo. It's a lightning round.
All right, finally in the lightning round, I feel like this is an appropriate time to use our guy, the man, the myth, the legend, a guy that we actually have to talk to at some point in time. We will have to do an interview with this man at some point. He's based out in Charlotte. He's a state guy. Kent Sports.
Yep.
Kent Sports 24/7, or Kent Sports 24 on Instagram. He is my Walter Cronkite on Instagram.
He is.
He is my Keith Olbermann on Instagram these days. And he's super quick with it, right? So here he is explaining what exactly happened last night between the Dodgers and the Brewers.
Saw the craziest play in baseball history. I'm not exaggerating. Even the dude who made the play said, what the F just happened? So let's try to make sense of it. Brewers-Dodgers game one. Max Muncy at the dish, bases loaded, thinks he just hit a grand slam until center fielder Sal Frelick goes to rob it, brings it back into the yard. Now it hit the top of the wall, so this is technically a force play. So the runner on third thought he had to go back and tag up. He's late getting home. He's out on a force play. Runner on second also needs to advance. The catcher knew it, runs over to third, tags the base. That runner's out for a double play. Now the wildest part of all this is the official score goes down as a grounded into double play for Max Muncy, meaning that was a 404-foot double play. Obviously, that was the longest grounded into double play in the pitch tracking era. Maybe even funnier is that 404-foot ground ball double play would have been a home run in 9 ballparks. Oh. So that was a lot. We'll look at it again. But a grand slam was just turned into an inning-ending double play. So it hits the glove first, then the top of the wall, meaning it's basically like a live ball. Runners must advance. I'm with the center fielder, Sal Frelick. I didn't know the rule. I don't think he did. He says, what the F just happened? You have to assume the base runners are like, oh, the ball never hit the ground, so that's a caught fly ball. That's an out. I have to run back to my base to tag up before advancing. They were wrong, so they were late getting to the base they were supposed to be at. Now, shout out Brewers catcher Willie Contreras. Might have been the only guy that knew this was a force out at home and also could be a force out at third, so he trots over to tag the base in the inning, and it turns into an 8-2-2 double play. A 4-run grand slam turns into a 0-run double play. Craziest play in baseball history. Game 1 of the NLCS.
An 8-2-1 double play.
Double play. Gosh, I would need to know more about the rules. But you know the whole point of that yellow line is allegedly when it hits the yellow line, I thought it meant that's a home run.
I thought so too.
Because
even if it hits the glove, it hits over. Yeah.
Did they get it right?
I guess we'll find out today, won't we? Guess we'll find out today.
I always hate that. Like you take the simplest part of baseball. Did it leave the ballpark?
Yes.
Yeah, then it's a home run.
Then we're done here.
Not, did it hit this yellow line? Did it hit this? And it's like, oh my God.
That's funny. Shout out to Kent24.
Yeah, the man.
It's just, again, like somebody put in the comments, man, you're quick with this. I go, yeah. That's the game now, man. That's the game. Let's keep the baseball going, shall we? Gordon Miller Lending joining us now on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. Although, do you want to talk baseball? Do you want to be like the Detroit post-game radio show? Let me play this clip real quick. This is the hometown play-by-play after they get knocked out.
Dan Dickerson with the call. Yes.
Getting knocked out by Seattle. Here it is.
Dan and I will be back to talk about it after this on the Detroit Tigers radio network.
And fragile.
I don't have to do a game. Oh, fuck.
You get tired.
Fuck this game recap. Oh, I'm sorry. Was that out loud? 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, that was on. That was on. It was almost 1:30 in the morning. I heard that live. That was special. I did.
It's not on the Casey Kasem a dead dog dedication, but that's pretty good in the moment. But I do think it encapsulates the general feeling of what happened to the Tigers and what's happened to the Tigers over the last 2 months, does it not?
Well, 15-inning game, and you're just sitting there waiting. I texted a friend of mine after the 13th, and I said, this is becoming Canes, Red Wings, 2001. Would somebody please just score? I'm done.
The 0-2 Stanley Cup.
I'm done. The 0-2 Stanley Cup from the 2001 season. I was so done by then. It's Kerry Carpenter got the only effective hit. It's to watch neither one of those teams try to win that game was truly special. But what's more amazing is to come back on the road, 36 hours later and pummel Toronto.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought they had any pitching left, but that just shows you how good Detroit's pitching was. You know what? So I'm going to take that as a positive. Second best pitching staff in the league based on one guy that goes 6 innings and wants $50 million.
It's okay, Gordon, because the Lions. Oh, wait. No, the Lions are already starting to get hurt, and it's October 14th. So everything's coming up Detroit. Everything's coming up Detroit. Is it Piston season yet?
This week, but the Red Wings are 2-1. They just took 2 games from Toronto, so that is our peak. They won't be double 500 ever again, so not this year. So that was outshot 41-13 or 14, I think, but the win is a win. But yeah, you had a special weekend heading in. I had the Tigers Friday night, so I told my wife, all right, Friday night. She said, what game is it tonight? And I said, well, the elimination game. So that was a loss. And then Saturday night, I said, well, big game tonight, Michigan at USC. And, well, Michigan lost. And then it was, well, Sunday, the Lions are going to save this weekend and everything is going to be great. And, well, no, didn't happen. So, and Michigan State got pummeled by UCLA, who now is the best team in the Big Ten. So there you go.
Shout out to New Haven, kid.
Unreal.
There's your ultimate sports weekend.
Hey, that's just normal. Might work. New Heisel's kids doing more than the Belichick kids.
Yeah, just right there. You go. They look pretty good. They look pretty dominant. So, but yep, baseball truly doesn't exist much anymore in the state of Michigan. A lot of depressed people, but I'm okay. It'll be okay.
The good news is you were smart enough. I think it was June to grab
July,
Seattle. Yep. In the World Series.
After Seattle came into Detroit for a 4-game series right around the All-Star break and just destroyed a very hot Tiger team that had lost like 1 series in 2.5 months. And the games weren't even close. And, when Julio Rodriguez is hitting and then you've got an all-star rotation, they're tough. I don't see Toronto coming back here, but I don't see a sweep either. But I've got Seattle just to win the American League pennant, though, because we both knew that the Dodgers were going to win the whole thing again, so it was pointless.
You're too smart for your own good. I just need a couple seconds here to rail against the Blue Jays and fucking David Ortiz. First of all, David Ortiz, your team was eliminated by the Yankees, so I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. That's number one. Number two, oh, hey, Vlad Guerrero Jr. That's awesome. You hit fucking 2,000 against the Yankees and hit 19 home runs in 4 games. Oh my God, you're amazing. You don't win the World Series by eliminating the Yankees. Okay.
For some teams you do, Joe.
No.
Some people that's enough.
Hey, did the Yankees lose? Oh, Vladdy. Oh. Fuck straight off, Vladimir Guerrero. And the Blue Jays can also fuck straight off because I have an exacta ticket for the Dodgers to beat the Blue Jays in the World Series. Well, God, if you only treated everybody like the Yankees, Blue Jays, the best team in baseball at home, losing their first 2 games, checks notes at home. Oh, ECU guy, you can fuck off too. You fucking struck out 13 Yankees.
I know you weren't here yesterday, but you don't have to cram all the F-bombs into one show. Spread them out during the week.
Is this Mike hot? Is this Mike hot right now?
He gets lit up by the Mariners at home. Like, what? Come on, dude. Come on.
The Mariners are a team of destiny. The one thing that I did like, though, as a consolation, was the fact that you were going to have the Toronto fans and the Seattle fans, because in the American League, I don't think there's 2 more passionate fan bases to watch a playoff game from. I really don't.
Wouldn't mind seeing Seattle win the whole thing because they've never won it before.
True. And Ichiro was shagging fly balls the other day. He looks like he could make a comeback. He might be on the World Series roster.
Probably look at 300.
Right. Yeah, he could still lay down a bunt or still hit. But yeah, no, it was a wild season for Detroit. Cleveland fans are still talking trash, even though, after all that collapse we had, we still knocked them out of the playoffs. And they're still doing it. But that's okay. Up here in Michigan, our big news is just following what's going on in Chapel Hill. Really, that's about it.
All right.
That's all they talk about here.
At some point, we'll discuss interest rates. Right? No, I'm kidding. So I don't know. I felt
what are interest rates doing anyway?
Yeah, what's going on? What's easier?
We got good news on this front, or
what's easier to predict right now?
The Mariners.
Is that easier to predict than what interest rates are doing right now? Is that easier to predict than what the Panthers might do the rest of the season? Because
well, the Panthers are a tough home team, right? That's what they're showing. I have no idea with the NFL. I just watched the Chiefs go through a whole football game with 0 penalties after having 13 the week before. But
amazing.
It's funny. It's funny how that works out.
It is, and all the taunting that was allowed in that game was also fairly interesting. And
there's been a suspension since, so they're taking care of the justice right now. But it's funny.
On the Lions is the suspension.
Was it on the Lions? Yeah, it was on the Lions. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It was. So
what's hard to predict right now? An NFL spread, or what's going on with the interest rates this year?
So rates are the one good thing I would say is that we had a Fed rate cut and we did not see rates go up this time. So that was a win. Last year when we started to head below 6, all of a sudden the Fed cut rates and rates got worse by a full percentage point. So it's a good sign right now to see that rates are holding in right around 6.25, and you should see a fairly significant slow but significant tapering of rates as we head over into the winter, because existing home sales are still all tied up, and it makes for a really tough market. But the other thing that's going on right now, which has gotten really, really bad, is and I want the listeners to pay strict attention to this, is that a lot of the builder, realtor, mortgage match sites, these are all paid referral sites, meaning that when you're working with any of those scenarios, it's likely that the referral that you were given was based on a financial arrangement. And that's something that I'm really trying to get the message out on is, if your builder gives you a recommendation, or the realtor gives you a recommendation, or anybody gives you a recommendation, in this day and age, you've just got to go ahead and please give us a call, because, if it's a great quote, we'll tell you. We've got people that have been around this area for quite a long time, with Austin Herbert, who the NC State crowd knows well, and Danny Davis, who was part of the 97 Carolina team. We aren't looking for any NCAA violations here. So, we're going to handle everything straightforward with you. And if you have any questions, we're going to answer them. And Joe, you can attest, both of you. On the one hand, Joe, we've done a number of loans. On the other hand, Joe, we've told you when or what not to do, and when is the right time to do what you want to do. So
I got annoyed once because I wanted to do a refinance, and he told me, no, wait 6 months. I was like, but I got to do this now. He's like, no, trust me, wait 6 months, and Gordon was right.
Kind of worked out. The thing I'd say that sort of sets us different a little bit, apart from others, is just, my background was in real estate. My background was in accounting. I came into this industry back in, 40 years ago next June. And, that experience is going to help you guys out, especially in a society that's looking for mortgage fraud right and left. Experience does matter. It's not just calling a robot and everything is the same. And the closing costs are the big thing that's gotten so bad from all this steering and all these, non-arm's length recommendations going on, because the public is the one paying for it. And it's, 15, 20 grand in cost to get a rate that begins with a 5. I would expect us to have rates in the 5s without any cost next year. So, before you go ahead and you roll in all that equity, because it didn't cost you anything out of pocket, you might want to check into a no closing cost loan, which is what we've been doing since 1987.
Gordon Miller, check him out online, millerlending.com. Go to millerlending.com/TheOG. That's our landing page. And when you take that thing to close, you'll get a Raleigh Wine Shop gift basket. You'll also get a game-used Rowback polo from Joe Giglio. If you want the sweat stains, maybe you have to do something a little extra. I don't know. Regardless, in all seriousness, the Raleigh Wine Shop gift basket, we've had a few of those come out this year already, so that's good to see.
It's gotten to the point, Joe, where multiple prior clients of mine are claiming the OG just to get the gift basket on us.
We see you. We see you. Don't be doing that now. In all seriousness, again, go to millerlending.com/TheOG. Have the conversation with Gordon, the crew over there. And I can attest to it, and Giglio can attest to it. It's not just let's rush you into a refinance, let's rush you into a mortgage. It's, does this make sense? And then you go from there. All right, Gordon.
And if you call today, just be sure to wish Gordon a happy birthday.
Wait, is it today?
Is it a nice round number?
It's once you get over 60, there's no nice numbers anymore.
You know what? I'll finally get around to doing that custom House of Sports shirt that we should have done 25 years ago or whatever it was.
Dick's Sporting Goods seems to have taken House of Sport from us, Joe. I saw that at the.
We were trailblazers on that one, because the whole
that was us.
It was a ripoff of House of Style. Let's call it House of Sport, and then nobody did it, and then now Dick's is doing it. So like, damn it,
that's right.
They obviously were listeners back in 03 and 04.
Well, look,
which mall are they going to? I should know this.
I think they're going to Crabtree. Are they not?
Okay,
so either that or South Point.
I think it's both.
Is it both?
Yeah.
Well, either way,
there's like rock climbing and batting cages.
Just remember, I've never had any good ideas.
By the way, real quick, yeah. Have you guys ever shook hands with Julius Peppers?
No.
Do you know this, Joe? You're laughing a little bit, but do you know what's?
He's gigantic. Yeah.
Oh my God. So Danny
Mario Williams came in freshman year at NC State, and I was still like doing stringer work at that time, and I was like, he's 18. Oh, okay. Anyway,
Danny at our office, who played on the 97 team and is good friends with Pep, went over to that table where Julius was for the Carolina game.
Mm-hmm.
And Danny, who's 6 foot, he was a gunner, but he looked like he was 5'4". And the attempt to shake hands was hilarious, because Julius just dwarfed every finger that he had and started to shake his wrist, at which point Danny pulled back. So it was they are gigantic. This is unbelievable. So I understand his Hall of Fame career now. I really do.
I feel like that's a moment where you have to reevaluate your life. All right, Gordon, we appreciate it, man. We'll talk to you later.
You got it, guys. Thanks.
Can't say so much talk of wagering. I feel like it's time to just log into my DraftKings app here and see what's going on. How many tickets did you have for the World Series?
I have too many. Let's move on, because it's more frustrating.
Let's talk about
at some point I have to get my money back from Bill Belichick in Carolina, right? Like at some point,
maybe. I don't know.
Is Friday night the night?
No. We talked about
I will say the money is moving towards Carolina.
We talked about this earlier. I don't know why anybody, it's actually driving me insane that we're just taking these guys' word for it. Between the game day rant from
Joe, he's
committed. He's committed.
They're making progress more than you can see.
Right. Of course.
You don't know.
don't believe your lion
We've gotten
eyes.
better.
Yeah, don't believe your lion eyes. So
We're the worst team in college football, but we're getting better.
But there's nowhere to go but up, Joe. And I am not convinced that Friday night is some sort of turnaround for them. I think the algorithm is going to activate.
There's a lot of people betting on them right now. The line has moved 2 points.
Well, I guess we found bigger marks than Bill Belichick than when it comes to Mike Lombardi, because I thought that was the biggest mark in football. Bill Belichick when it comes to Mike Lombardi. I guess I was wrong. Anyway, what I'm interested in is the fact that the Carolina Panthers on the road to the Jets have not won a game. They are 0-6, and the Panthers are rolling right now, but I guess Vegas knows, hey, man, it's the Panthers on the road, so we don't know if we can trust them. The Panthers are only a 1.5-point favorite against the lowly Jets.
Got to tread carefully with the Jets. I'm looking up their spread number right now. They're 3-3 against the number this year. They're strange when it comes to that, but 1.5, obviously you would think.
You would think. So what's NC State's spread against the open week?
The open week?
Yeah.
I listened to your program yesterday.
I know I was that's why we talked about it. I was waiting for you to get back. I was kind of cavalier about the Notre Dame game.
No. I was very I thought you hit the right notes on that one.
It's just a scheduled loss, guys.
They play better. Dave has them play, even though their number isn't great after an open day under Dave Doran. They play better. Okay.
Fair.
And I think you're onto something in the sense that this now feels like the must-win game against Pitt next week. This will be determined if you're going to make a bowl game or not. You're going to have this. Luckily for Dave, there's 2 ACC teams he's never lost to. One was Virginia, who we beat earlier this year.
Non-conference. Hey, that's a big non-conference win for them. That's a big non-conference win for him.
And the other is Pitt. So the question is, can he remain unbeaten for Pitt? I do believe their bowl eligibility will be determined by this particular game. Now we have a whole week to wait for it.
I don't think your Georgia Tech ruined their season.
The reckoning. Reckoning.
I don't think the Amato redemption game is going to happen. That's not going to come home for you.
That run defense against the team that runs the football.
Something tells me Mr. Run the Ball is not going to work against NC State.
Let's see what Georgia Tech does in Durham this week.
Fair.
How about that?
No, that's a very good point.
It was like a pretty big game in Durham.
Very good point. Look, there's all sorts of things you can get into with DraftKings. And NFL fans, as you know, there's all sorts of fun ways to get into it. Next touchdown, live line, you name it. First touchdown, anytime TD props, live in-game betting. Every snap is loaded with opportunities. So check out the DraftKings Sportsbook app today. New customers bet just $5. If your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets instantly. So if your team is hitting pay dirt, it pays out to you. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Include that promo code OG20. That's OG25. I said OG20, didn't I? OG25 is what I mean. So let me remind you again. Use the promo code.
Let me double remind you.
Let me double confirm here. OG25. Okay. OG25. I'm getting my promo codes all confused. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code OG25. Again, that's OG25. And new customers can turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. Pass-through per wager tax may apply in Illinois. 21 plus, age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer. Joining us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline, he is Matt Brown. Extra Points is the newsletter. If you are interested at all in the business of college sports, I highly recommend you subscribe to this newsletter. Matt, what's going on, man?
Hey, fellas. Thanks for having me on. A really strangely busy time for October. Normally I think I'm writing a little bit more about actual football, but there's a lot of dumb money being thrown around, which is kind of my bat signal.
I mean, when, yes, dumb money is your bat signal, and there is so much to discuss locally and nationally about dumb money. So let's actually start there. And the reason why I reached out to you, James Franklin gets fired. That's its own story of how we ended up there. But the buyout terms and how it ranks with other buyouts and what this means in the Big Ten with other buyouts, tied to the fact that last Friday we find out that it's happening. The Big Ten is going to be taking private capital money. I don't know if Penn State said, hey, guys, in the office in Indianapolis saying, hey, guys, can we get that cash now so we could do this with James Franklin? But it's one of these weird situations where schools cry poor and then they dump $50 million on a coach to not coach, and then they have to go seek more money. So I feel like all this is tied together.
I think it is. And I will say up front, it's not quite a 100% done deal that the Big Ten is going to take this private capital. The guy who just released a story earlier today about how Michigan and USC have some concerns. There's always a chance that something gets thrown, a roadblock at the last minute. But a lot of people are very interested in this deal. And what the schools will tell you is, hey, those headlines aren't totally fair because this money isn't completely fungible, right? If we need to pay for women's hockey, or we need to pay for the Anthony travel, bus fare to get to Indianapolis or something, that has to come from our operating budget. But when we need to fire James Franklin, donors are going to come out of the woodwork that are going to say, I'm not interested in paying for the blocking and tackling of your typical operation, but I will cut you a check to fund your football roster or to get rid of this one guy. It's not money that you could plug and play somewhere else. And there's, I think, some truth to that, but you are all right, and every other national writer is right, that you can't cry poor when you could find a way to find more money in the banana stand, whether that's from hitting up the same 8 rich guys, potentially selling a stake in your future revenue, or doing other things that may be even more harebrained to pay this. Penn State, I think specifically, is a little bit fortunate in that their buyout looks a lot worse on paper than it actually is. James Franklin is almost certainly going to get another job this cycle. He has a duty to offset. It's not due all up front, like, say, Mark Stoops' buyout is, or half up front, like Jimbo Fisher's was. This could be spread out through 2031. So Penn State's not going to be completely buried that way. But your general point of we can't stop ourselves from spending money on stupid stuff, and so we're interested in mortgaging our future in other ways, that's real.
At the risk of derailing this entire program. But you're the only one who probably knows the answer. My brain is scattered. Can you just explain to me in the most concise possible way, without derailing this entire conversation, why Pennsylvania can somehow skirt open record laws when it comes to their coaches' contracts?
It's a great question. And the reason is because Penn State, Pitt, and Temple are not considered to be completely public universities within the state of Pennsylvania. They are considered to be state-affiliated universities, and therefore all of their stuff is not subject to open records. But if you want to go get coaches' contracts for some of the Division II schools within Westchester or Kutztown or something else, you can get those. And it has to do with some weird quirk in their state constitution and how this stuff is funded. Delaware is configured the same way. I think it's baloney. But my presidential campaign of liberalizing state open records laws, not terribly popular right now.
Okay. Because
so they're public-ish.
Okay. Because there has to be, I get it. Jimbo Fisher kind of broke the mold when it comes to buyouts. And I know Jimmy Sexton, his agent, I know Jimmy Sexton is James Franklin's agent.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But it feels like a very specific, idiotic SEC thing to have no offset language in your contracts. Matt, you go through more of these than I'll ever have, and I went through these for 10 years while I covered NC State. Like, Debbie Yao is a really smart person, but she's not the only smart AD on the planet. You know what I mean? Like,
no,
the only one who insisted on offset language. Like, this is fucking AD 101 bullshit.
Yeah,
like,
you would think so, and this is the truth, right? Because I'm doing the national rounds right now where people are asking, Matt, surely in the revenue sharing era, and surely after another cycle of people going, why the hell are we paying this guy $40 million not to coach? Now is the time when this buyout start to get clawed back, right? And I understand the economics 103 argument why you would think that's the case, but here's the fundamental issue. When you're an AD,
hiring a coach, and I'm using air quotes here because you guys know, maybe some of your listeners don't, athletic directors generally are not the people that are really hiring football coaches.
Bubba Cunningham wouldn't know anything about that.
But Bubba's a great example. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they're heavily involved. Sometimes you're waiting for the boosters and the regents or the governor or Marco Rubio or whoever to say, hire this guy. And if it goes badly, you need right?
No, you're right. You're right.
I know. I've never told a joke on the radio, right? So you have that situation. So the AD, who might also be repped by the same agency as the coach, may have opinions about wanting to protect the institution. But if the other people who are actually funding this saying, get this deal done, come hell or high water, and if you screw it up, we're gonna turn you into the John Curie at Tennessee, then you sign the deal. And you think, if it's a bad deal, what the hell do I care? I'm gone in 4 years anyway. And if the guy wins, no one cares that I didn't put offset language in there. Like no one's looking up what Kirby Smart's buyout really is, and everyone had Ryan Day's memorized a year ago, and now they're not going to care so much. They only care if things are going poorly. So the incentive structure is all set up for do whatever you can to get the deal done. The AD doesn't really have leverage, and that's why you have situations where sometimes you don't have a duty to offset, or sometimes where the whole the duration of the contract is owed within 30 days, and suddenly you got to pay $25 million up front.
I'm curious I know what you're saying about private capital, but we we did an interview with American Commissioner Tim Pernetti a few weeks ago, and he was very adamant about the fact that his conference, it would make sense to do it. He's had good experience.
More so, I think, than anybody else I've talked to.
Okay.
P4, FCS, anybody.
So I have two questions. One has to lead to the other.
Sure.
So the first question is, and it's something that you wrote about, and I know you don't have an answer, but I wanted to bring it up on the podcast, is what does the Big Ten need with this private capital? It was the same question I asked Tim Pernetti. With Pernetti, I understand why he might. They don't have the same kind of television deal. They don't have the same kind of revenue levers they can pull with gigantic stadiums and brands that are nationwide. So if Pernetti wants to get in bed with private capital and owe some people money, I understand where he's coming from on that, to play a little catch up. The Big Ten, I don't understand. And you wrote about this and you asked the question, what is the money for? If the money is to pay players, well, I've seen businesses go out of business when they have to take a loan to pay their employees. That's the first red flag. This isn't a sustainable business that you have to take a loan out to pay your workforce. So after you
Tom Dundon's got a 26% loan that he could help you with on that.
Sure.
So after you put that out a couple of weeks ago, have you received an answer as to what exactly this money is for?
I have, actually.
Okay.
And the interest in that capital is different from school to school. And I agree with you. Like I can't say that I would necessarily do the same deal if I was Pernetti, but I absolutely understand why he's taking those calls and why his presidents and ADs are asking him to do so. Not everybody in the Big Ten has unlimited financial resources. You have a couple of schools right now that aren't getting full television shares. And if they have existing capital projects and mortgages to pay, they may be interested in some of this money where they can get money up front. And I think a great example of that would be UCLA, which has some expensive facility projects in the near future, like a new baseball stadium. They have very expensive real estate. They're already in debt up to their eyeballs, and they won't. And it's going to take a little while for them to be level with everybody else. So they might want that. Rutgers might want that, who's already in terrible financial shape and has been that way since the Paleolithic era. You also have a couple of schools that are more traditional Big Ten institutions that are not in bigger cities and have lots of other really expensive capital projects. And a good example for this is Penn State. Beaver Stadium it needs a lot of money for renovations. And I personally, I think it might make sense to just knock the whole damn thing down, but that doesn't really happen in college sports. And that's going to cost $1 gajillion. And you might look at this as bridge capital as an alternative to selling bonds or doing something else so you can afford to do other things while you've got 70 million or whatever tied up in Beaver Stadium. And the argument there is if you modernize that stadium, you get the same thing with people with the Panthers or in the NFL. That becomes a better revenue generating asset. This is legitimately a financial issue in college sports where so many of these football stadiums were built in World War II with Works Progress Administration money, so they don't have the amenities to earn revenue like the NFL stadiums do. Keegan,
they still have urinal troughs. They still have urinal troughs in a lot of them.
Right, yeah, and bench seating, and even at UNC, if you want premium seating, got to sit in the freaking weight room, underneath the Twisted Tea banner by the squat racks, because you don't have as much of this stuff as you have in the NFL. So that I get. The thing is, that's not everybody.
Yeah.
If you're Michigan, and that's why you're seeing some pushback, because if you're Michigan, if you're USC, to a lesser extent Ohio State, you don't need this shit.
Yeah.
And in many ways, you are, by signing on to it, you're basically taking out a second mortgage to better feed your poor conference peers and accepting more risk when you have cheaper ways to raise that capital yourselves.
Is it a second mortgage or a reverse mortgage?
Ooh, that's private equity in a nutshell right there.
That's my question.
Put that on LinkedIn. I mean, this.
What does it mean for B2B sales, Joe? That's what.
Exactly. What mortgaging my football stadium and selling my athletic department to Blackstone Capital taught me about B2B sales.
I would also argue those stadiums built with the World War II heat. That's fantastic, because the heat from World War II, like they had at Reynolds Coliseum back in the day.
They don't make them like that.
They don't make it like that shit anymore, man. Like
some of those things are excellent.
That's furnace.
I'll tell you one thing I learned about this that's super nerdy, but I know you fellas would appreciate, was last year, and I was talking with a bunch of senior administrators at Wisconsin. I got a tour of Camp Randall, and Wisconsin, God bless these guys, that's the drunkest state in the country.
Hell yeah!
Like that, they're starting you at 8-9 years old. Even the Mormons are using beer in their sacrament services in Wisconsin. But when I was there, they didn't sell alcohol in Camp Randall. And now they do. And I remember asking, like, this is ridiculous. Like, sure, why is this about wanting to limit binge drinking or anything? And they said, it's not so much about that. It's just the stadium's so goddamn old. There's no place to put a keg.
Yeah.
Like, and there's no place to put enough bathrooms. Like they sell bottles.
That was the biggest problem at NC State when they finally got around to changing a lot of legislation. How do you put tap lines into a place that hasn't really seen any sort of updates in the main concourse area since 1966? Right. Same with Keenan. You got log jams. How do you do this? Now beer pouring technology has gotten better, but still it is kind of a pain in the ass. All right. So the second part of this, now that we've kind of established what this money is for, there's the other aspect of getting
just to be clear.
Yeah.
Matt, you're saying the money that they want to borrow is for capital improvement, like it's 1989, like it's 2005, and we're going to put a fancy slide and some other stuff.
No,
or you're saying the capital improvement is to actually make more money off of your venue.
Yes,
much more of the latter. But almost everybody agrees building the Clemson slide is not going to improve your recruiting.
Okay,
so everyone, So, now, to be fair, some of this money is very much about how do I fire my coach. How do I pay my players? How do I chase on 3 headlines? But there is very much also a conversation of how do I build an infrastructure?
One word
Hall of Fame. Man.
Now, okay, so the capital improvements again are to create, like we talked about with Pernetti, to create new things to pull revenue levers. That's all. That's the point. Like we're seeing at Lenovo Center. Well, we need these bunker suites to extract more money out of corporations for us. Now, this gets to the part about that you just said to pay coaches to go away. The one thing, and I was talking to somebody in the ACC about this because I asked them about, okay, you see what the Big Ten's doing. What about the ACC? And they had the same attitude I have. Well, the last thing I want to do is owe people money because then they get to call the shots.
Yeah.
And the one thing that we know about private equity, private capital, however you want to spin it, is that they look at these things without any sort of nostalgic eye to universities and what it means. And I just gave you $10 million, or I put my name on the building and my family legacy is secure. It's like, no, I gave you $10 million and I expect to make 15 million back. Like that's how this works. So I'm curious, once you go from Big Ten, the conference, to Big Ten, the enterprise, at some point, people are going to look at these coaching contracts and go, now explain to me why this coach deserves this amount of money and a buyout that is this, like a Jimbo. Why does a coach deserve a $75 million buyout? Why does James Franklin deserve this kind of buyout?
Did you say the Big Ten brought to you by Enterprise?
Could be. So at some point, the enterprise is going to look at the coaching contracts and go, this doesn't make any sense. This is not how the real world works. We have to do what? Well, what's the solution to this? Shorter deals? Not as much. Like how do you manage what has become Jimmy Sexton getting everybody to get the price of the brick going up, or schools going, why should I pay you a bunch of money for the mere idea you might leave for this other school? Like Curt Cignetti, right? If I'm Indiana, like, hey, man, this is the job. Look what you're doing here. We're not going to give you any more. If you want to go to the trap that is Penn State, salute and best of luck. We'll find somebody else. I'm just, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's got to be a new way to rethink this.
There is. It's hard because, and you guys realize this. Like, hiring coaches is a crapshoot in many ways. You can hire a guy that on paper looks dynamite. Scott Frost at Nebraska, Luke Fickell at Wisconsin, and it fails completely. And you can make a hire that looks completely indefensible on paper. Dabo, the first time he was hired, I think justifiably was, laughed out of the room by a lot of people. And that, this season notwithstanding, has turned out to be excellent for Clemson. There's a level of stuff that's unpredictable. There's a level of randomness to this. And so folks like us can look at that and say, well, that's why you shouldn't pay $8 million to somebody, because just like you shouldn't pay $8 million for a 5-star high school quarterback, because they fail 55% of the time. You should hedge your bets. But we can say that because our ass isn't in the jackpot, and we don't get fired if we don't make that bet to begin with. So everyone is still operating out of their own personal incentives. Would it be more fair to have shorter contracts, or to have buyout provisions tied to player payroll, or clawback incentives or other things to mitigate or spread around risk? Sure, I think so. But I don't really know how we easily get there without a CBA or the other structures that control player compensation and that allow profit taking. That then create a world where the owners say, no, I'm not going to pay my coach $36 million a year.
Gotcha.
We don't have that. You could have it with Congress. You could have it with state houses that say, like, we're going to limit the take of what agents can get from some of these things, or we're going to impose other limits. I think what is more likely to happen if you bring in investors that have actual say. And to be clear, the Big Ten hypothetical deal right now with the University of California Pension Fund, they don't really have much of a voice in the decision making there by design. They're more passive than a Blackstone or a Redbird or something.
Okay.
Well, yet when you bring those people in, I think there's a lot of inefficiencies they're going to come for first before they go, why are we paying our head coach $9.5 million a year to go 8-4?
Gotcha.
Could be wrong.
I think we could all agree, though. We could all agree. You don't need private capital to tell you this. I think we can all agree that paying Mike Lombardi $1.5 million to be the general manager at North Carolina, I believe he is the highest paid general manager in college football right now. I think we can all agree that that's bad money. You might as well just light $1.5 million on fire.
Honestly, like, this makes me upset. There's a few times when you see coaching decisions or administrative decisions, you're like, that's dumb, but it's funny. Mm-hmm. The Lombardi thing makes me feel legitimately angry. And I've got, 45 GM contracts in the Extra Points library. These are kind of things that I track. I want to say at least $350,000 a year more than anybody else. And the guy has a long record. There are lots of people that have worked with Michael Lombardi that can tell you about his interpersonal skills or his evaluation skills or whether this is transferable. And I get legitimately angry when I've heard so many people blowing smoke up my ass and a bunch of other reporters' asses about how the key move is to bring in experienced NFL guys. As if anybody whose NFL experience involves the Cleveland Browns should be like celebrated in any way. But the NFL's not college football. And the player evaluation and compensation and negotiation and acquisition structure and strategies are completely different. And that's why lots of schools have not hired NFL people for these roles. You have the gamut is run from player personnel types to ex-coaches. William & Mary just hired an ex-finance professor to serve as their GM. There's some places where it's ADs. We don't know what is transferable or not. And what it seems very clear is all of the big-brained, expensive NFL guys did a really shitty job building this roster because they didn't understand how to use that cap, how to evaluate people, and how any of this works. The three of us could have told you that. The arrogance and the flushing away of limited resources, I think is frustrating. I think UNC fans deserve better than that.
Well, no, based on Mike Lombardi's Ringer podcasting, you would know that he's right about a lot of things, right?
I have never had the pleasure of working with him directly, but I will say my phone has a robust group chat of many reporters throughout the country, many of who have worked with him at previous stops. And we'll just say that the language in that group chat probably is not stuff I could say on this podcast. I'll just say this. There's a lot of people out there smiling because they prayed for this demise. We can leave it at that.
I used to pray for times like this.
Yeah.
And nobody can FOIA your phone, Matt. So that's always good.
That's true. That's true.
I had baby's first show up in a FOIA.
There you go.
Oh, yeah?
Day. Yeah.
Well,
baby's
tell me about that.
No, it was just me texting with Bubba Cunningham on the TC day that showed up. I was like, it was completely innocent, innocuous, you know?
Oh, sure. This has happened to me a couple of times. I don't mind saying this. Like, there was one time a couple weeks ago where this popped up, and then my response was to call the AD and say, will you please stop forwarding my emails to your entire department unless you're going to buy an institutional subscription? Like, I appreciate you reading, but this is piracy of my work. Occasionally, I have seen people complain about me and emails from FOIAs, and that makes me feel good.
Matt Brown, Extra Points is the newsletter. We appreciate the insight as always. Always a fun conversation, and enjoyed our time for the Sports Podcast Festival. Joe did not expect to see me in purple today in my my Sports Podcast Festival shirt from the summer.
No, it's a great shirt. I had mine on a couple of days ago.
There you go.
It was a good time.
Good stuff. All right, Matt, we appreciate it, man. We'll talk to you later.
Sounds good. Thanks, fellas.
Big thanks to Bloomin' Blinds. When we talk about the ACC, when we have our After Darks, they bring you those events. And you can call them directly at 919-980-9815. Check them out online at bloominblinds.com. I think I saw Chris at a bridal event, like a bridal show recently.
Hustling, man. Every day I'm hustling.
Hey, man, I get look, blinds, you're thinking maybe you bought blinds for somebody else. Maybe you have a newlywed couple, they're moving into a house and you're going to give them they don't need a fondue set.
No, they don't.
What they need is blinds.
They don't know that either. Trust me, as somebody who had to install 28 blinds in our new home.
Yeah, give the gift of automatic shades. Give the gift of blackout curtains.
Room darkening nap time.
Because, no, I'm not thinking, these are newlyweds, Joe. Newlyweds.
Enough said.
Now, they might need that later for when they get older and it's just, I got to take a nap. But that's the gift that keeps on giving, if you catch my drift. So go to bloominblinds.com, 919-980-9815. 10 or more window treatments are going to get you 10% off. Big thanks to Roback. I like how everybody just calls me out for wearing the layering top, the shacket all the time. It's comfortable. Like, what do you want?
What are you supposed to do?
I actually have to order the brown one. I'm going to do that when we're done here recording and I hit publish and I got time. As it's rendering, I'm just going to get the OG card out and it's Roback time. I'm going to get the brown one. So go to roback.com. They're dropping new stuff all the time. Giglio's got the quarter zip on right now. You get the jersey print underneath that?
I do.
Yeah, jersey print under that. They're coming out with new prints all the time. It's great stuff. And if you're looking for basics, I really can't think of a better place to go. They do have basic solid colors.
They
believe
do.
it or not. And those are
Don't tell Ben, but that's my favorite one.
These are versatile, everyday, multi-purpose polos, man. You can wear them to work. You can wear them out. You can wear them on the golf course. They're super comfortable. They don't wrinkle. And you can get it at roback.com. RHOBACK.com. Use that promo code OG20 like I'm about to do to get myself a brown shacket. Big thanks to Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority. Check them out online at bugsbite.com. Again, that's bugsbite.com. Been raining a lot. This creates all sorts of bugs trying to get in, all that kind of moisture.
I mean, I'm ready for something, man. Like
just some consistency.
Just get rid of these bugs.
Yeah,
Gosh.
I'm with you on that. So check them out online at bugsbite.com and start thinking about next year too. With mosquitoes, misting systems, all sorts of stuff to keep your patio and deck bug free. So
moisture
again,
under the house, by the way.
Bugsbite.com.
Moisture barrier. They do all that.
That's clutch. That is clutch. We've been talking buyouts, contracts, all that kind of stuff. Something tells me Whitaker and Hamer will have your answers. They would know how to structure a buyout properly, I'm guessing. So check them out.
Language.
Check them out online at wh.lawyer. Again, that's wh.lawyer. And of course, they can do something simple as closing. You know, we talked to Gordon earlier. You refinance, they can handle that. You buy a house, you sell a house, you can do it with Whitaker and Hamer. Speaking of buying and selling a house, My Hometown Realty, myhtr.com. Check them out. myhtr.com. You can buy and sell with confidence. There's a lot of confusion. You know, you're thinking, is the housing market hot? Is it not? Why do I see all this inventory? What does it mean for me? Talk to the experts. Check them out online at myhtr.com. What a show. Today's show has been all over the place. Let's get out of here with some HO shout. It's October. I mean, it's
a lot going on.
There's just a lot going on.
A lot to get into.
Man. A lot to get into today. So let's get out of here with some Hey Joe. Let's go to the OG Sports phone as always.
919-444-2211. Call the OG Sports phone and curse or don't.
Big thanks to Nature's Relief for sponsoring the OG Sports phone. I've been hyped up, not sleeping in my own bed, just running on fumes, and I needed to like chill my brain out. Used it last night to go to bed. Worked like a charm. Big thanks to Nature's Relief. You can check them out online at naturesreliefhempstore.com. All right, let's go to a 704.
Hey, Joe's Will from Raleigh. I'm calling about some of the calls about Dave Doran and some of the comments about him getting fired and after the Notre Dame game. Like you guys said, we were going to lose that game. I mean, I don't know why anybody's freaking out. And the whole boo do the right thing, you guys even said, like, he is doing the right thing, not only because Dave is, like, has earned that after all these years. And, I mean, he's not the worst coach in the world. People overreact like hell. But also, if you think that they should fire him and pay all that money instead of potentially letting him just take a bow at the end of the season, saving us millions of dollars for pride? Question mark? I don't know what reason, because you don't want to watch him on the sidelines for the rest of the season. That's stupid. You're just an idiot. So, yeah, Dave should stay until the end, get his last dub over Carolina, and then we move on. Anything else is just people overreacting and being crazy. All right, thanks, guys.
Thoughts?
Yeah, some of those calls on yesterday's program were interesting, especially given what this weekend was like.
Well, you know how we've entered into when it comes to NC State specifically. I've seen this before. I saw it with Kevin Keats, and I've seen it with Dave Doran. We've got into performative reaction to things that shouldn't surprise you. We've entered into
what? You lost to Notre Dame on the road?
Yeah. You know, just like, you know, occasionally we enter into performative Josh Goodson tweets through it mode. This is the opposite of that. It's performative, like, okay, we get it. You don't like Dave. Sure. You have plenty of other examples to point to not like Dave. This ain't the one. Let's go to an 804.
Joe, this is your favorite South Jersey homeboy calling in. I tuned in yesterday to get some Panthers post-game talk because the Eagles laid an egg Thursday. I got to watch the Panthers Sunday. Also want to do a little Belichick hate watching. But I get WIP meta-analysis at the very beginning of the podcast. That was wonderful. That was like chocolate in my peanut butter. Thank you, guys. Glad the boys got some life lessons from that Philly grandpa. I just wonder why he doesn't call into WIP. I guess they screen the positive people out. I don't know. But I just want to say one thing to the guy who called in, the guy who's going to ride or die with Dave Canales, the guy who is a Bryce Young homer who said trust the process. When it comes to process, I got 2 words, or they might be 3. Philadelphia 76ers. That's all I'm saying. Y'all have a great day.
Yeah, that actually is a Lombardi thing too, where he was talking about his time with Sam Hinkie and things like that. Do you really do?
Well, clearly they're going to get the number 1 draft pick next year because they're the 33rd NFL team and they're in last place.
Yes. No, you're very, very, very good point. All right, one more. Here's from a 919.
Yeah, another great weekend to be a sports fan when your college football team stinks. Everyone's checked out on Dave Doran, as they should be. But he's going to retire right off to the sunset, so not much you can do there. And then the even better thing is, being a North Carolina native, not being a Panthers fan, but instead calling your your dad's footsteps and being a Cowboys fan. And somehow, Jerry Jones lets the Carolina Panthers beat them. So, and now all my friends and everyone I know that are Panther fans are just lighting me up. So, another great weekend. And I can't even say I can't wait for basketball season because just the thought of my mind of us somehow being bad at basketball is still out there somewhere. And so I'm not even excited. I don't want to get my hopes up for that because there's just that 1% where I just think we're going to be bad, but hopefully not. So go Pack.
Look, man, wow. Hey, whoever that was, the 919 who called, text the sports phone. Text the sports phone. We might have to go to the secret stash and send you something.
Okay.
You
We can do
know,
that.
we can send you a triangle good hat from the secret stash. Is that okay? By the way, if you're unfamiliar with the secret stash, the link, it's in the podcast and YouTube description. You might not know what you find there. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for today's show. We appreciate it. As always, we'll see you tomorrow.